After we're all done here, it's the Rangers and Washington Nationals interleague style from the nation's capital. And on our show tonight, we'll be visiting with Rangers outfielder Shin-Soo Choo, Astros catcher and all-star Jason Castro, and Rangers first baseman Mitch Moreland is going to get the third degree in our Random with the Rangers segment.
Great job.
Alrighty, so that's the report from yesterday, but what about our Texas Orthodontics starting lineup for tonight's game? First for the visiting Rangers, Don, as we take a look at Texas's rundown, I'm looking at these guys thinking, who are some of these cats? Luis Sardinas, Michael Choice, Rougned Odor. I mean, if you would have told me that this would be half of your starting lineup going into the season, I would have thought there is no way in Hades that the Rangers could be, 6 or 7 weeks into the season, have a plus 500 record. I mean, it's astounding.
And known some of them.
Mitch Moreland also really swinging it of late. And I think the best thing about what we can say about the Rangers so far in the last week or so is that they're really, they've been productive hitting with 2 strikes. And that's so big in the game of baseball. Now, as we take a look at the Washington Nationals rundown, here's a team really that's not hitting at all. They've got some really good players on this team. Jason Worth is one of them. And then they've got a guy like Adam LaRoche who was hurt. They had to stick him right in the middle of their lineup because there's so many of these guys that aren't hitting right now. Anthony Rendon's another kid you may want to keep an eye on, especially if you're a big Texas baseball fan. This is a kid that grew up in the Houston area, went to Rice, tremendous player, got off to a great start with a stick, but's been in a major slump of late.
Yeah, and every calendar.
Well, this also is going to lead us to our IPAC marquee matchup of the night. The Nats, as we've said, they've had a really hard time hitting of late. They got Adam LaRoche, as we said, back into this lineup. And, this is one of those guys, Don, that came up with a lot of promise and really didn't fulfill a lot of expectations early. But this guy's turned out to be a really serviceable major league hitter. And then we're pitting him against Mitch Moreland. And we've been waiting for Mitch Moreland to finally just kind of arrive and be a stabilizing force in the middle of the Rangers lineup. It's kind of been up and down for Mitch over the last 3 or 4 years, but hopefully what he's done of late, where he's going to have to produce based on what we just said about how many no-namers there are on this lineup, maybe we're starting to see the Mitch Moreland maybe that the Rangers were counting on 3 years ago. I know I sound like a bitter fantasy owner because I've had this guy on my team. It's like, come on, dude.
Now we know.
Yeah, take over. All right, we're just getting started here on Texas Baseball Countdown. Up next, we'll chat with Rangers outfielder Shin-Soo Choo, who once upon a time played here in San Antonio, as Don mentioned earlier. And you won't believe how much he actually enjoyed his time playing here. We're going to explain right after this.
Be at this point, right, Chuck?
Don, very interesting story. This is a kid that within the last year or so, the Rangers went to him as a minor leaguer and said, we're going to tear up your current minor league deal and give you a multi-million-dollar contract. And the kid and his agent said, no, thank you. This kid has been betting on himself the entire time he's been in the major leagues. And I mean, he's a big kid and super strong, but he didn't have a really good spring. And I thought, well, there's no way they're going to bring this kid to the major leagues right now. Why start the clock on this kid? Well, since they brought him up, he got off to a little bit of a slow start, maybe about a week. Ever since then, I mean, he's had 8 or 9 homers this month as a rookie, and the Astros have a legit, bona fide superstar in the making in the middle of their lineup. This kid's not going back to the minor leagues, and, he's one of those guys that he can absolutely strike fear into the opposition. And I got to give the kid credit. I thought, you cocky little son of a freak. And here he is, betting on himself, and he's winning. We're talking about a special talent and the kind of kid that just does not grow on trees. Well, Jason Castro has made himself right at home in the big leagues too, the second he first stepped on the field as well. He made the All-Star game a season ago and is one of the best hitters in the middle of their lineup. He's a Stanford guy, and I'm guessing you can't have too many of those on your team. Good athlete and really smart.
Everyone's kind of fitting in and getting to the point where we're about ready to get going. So it's an exciting time for us. We're really about to make that turn around the corner and show some people that we're on our way up.
How much of a difference was it, with you guys bringing in all these veteran pitchers, especially how different is the feel in the clubhouse as opposed to maybe last year at this time?
It plays a big difference. I mean, it's been huge to have some guys come in that have been around the league for quite a while, and for them to kind of share their experiences and some of their experiences. I mean, It's great for the young arms that we have that are trying to find their way and learning what it takes to be successful for a long period of time is it's something you can't replace. So to have those guys in the clubhouse just helping lead everybody and still keeping it light at the same time, it's been a good experience so far.
You've managed to figure it out. I mean, learning at this level, and I mean, how big of an adjustment was it for you? I mean, you had a lot of success already early in your career, but I would imagine it was kind of hard learning on the fly too, and with not a lot of veteran guys around.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously nothing replaces getting a chance to play every day. So I think the most I learned was when I got that opportunity really last year for the first time in a few years. Learning what it takes to play every day, how to be successful, how to make adjustments, and how to take care of myself off the field to put myself in the best place to succeed every day.
Up next, we're going back to the Rangers side of things. Mitch Moreland is on deck with Random of the Rangers. Don's going to have some keys to victory for us. Then it's the Rangers and the Nationals coming up right here on KCWX. We'll do it all right after this.
A year or so.
Absolutely. All righty. The Rangers outfield, though, Shin-Soo Choo, he's having another marvelous year in the big leagues. Texas backed up the vault in order to get him here in this offseason. Choo actually spent the 2004 season here in San Antonio and really enjoyed the experience. But we'll let him tell the story.
Playing San Antonio 2004, that's worthy, and then this could happen,
Still more to come here on Texas Baseball Countdown. Up next, we're back with the Astros, who is their player of the week, and our chat with all-star catcher Jason Castro right after this.
Off the hook.
Absolutely, and I talked to John Daniels last week, and I said, aren't you surprised at all the fact that you guys are above 500? And he's like, no, we've got pride, and we've got talent, and the expectations are still the same. I don't know if they're real expectations, or maybe he was just blowing smoke, but this team has really overachieved at this point, in my opinion.
They have. Key number tonight.
Absolutely, and this has been the Rangers' best big game pitcher when healthy over the last 3 years, and I'm a little surprised that Colby doesn't look as rusty as I thought he would be, given the time off with all the injuries, but it seems like he's given them more good outings than bad ones so far since his return.
Are hitting.
And it would be nice to see Elvis Andrus try to get hot. I mean, the more the merrier at this point. I mean, you can't keep counting on the Luis Sardinas of the world. I mean, at some point you're going to have your name guys step up, and I think it speaks to the Rangers' depth that they've been able to do what they've been able to do, but again, the Belchers of the world definitely are going to have to carry you at some point.
Those are our north side.